In this example, I'm going to show various miscellaneous manipulators to fine-tune the way that output is displayed using streams. The examples are defined in this function here, and they're located in this file here. So I have a few numbers I'm going to output, and in the example I'm going to show how to use the show pos and the no show pos manipulator. This will determine whether the plus sign, the positive sign, is displayed when you have a number. Then we'll have a look at the oct and hex and dec manipulators. These determine the base that the number is displayed in, octal, hexadecimal, or decimal. Then we'll have a look at show base and no show base. Show base is quite handy. It allows the prefix for the number to be displayed when you're using a different base. So for example, if you output a hexadecimal number, it would output 0x at the beginning. And if you have an octal number, it will output a 0 at the beginning. It makes it easier to see what base the number is being expressed in. At the end of the example, I'm going to show the uppercase and no uppercase manipulators. These affect the way that numbers are displayed when they involve letters, whether the letters are displayed in lowercase or uppercase. So for example, in hexadecimal, you have A, B, C, D, E, F. Are those letters displayed in uppercase or not? That's what you can modify using these manipulators. So I'll go back to the beginning again. Initially, I output X, Y, and Z. When you output a positive number, by default, it doesn't display a plus sign in front of the number. Obviously, it displays a negative sign in front of a minus number, but it doesn't display the plus sign in front of a positive number by default. However, if you use the show pos manipulator, then it will display the plus sign in front of positive numbers. And when you use the no show pos manipulator, it reverts back to the default behavior of not showing the plus sign. So if I run the example just to illustrate what happens here. So initially we display X, Y, and Z, and their default format is not to display the plus sign. Then I use show pos, so from now on it will be showing the positive sign in front of positive numbers. So when I output X, Y, and Z here, then they do have the positive prefix. You can see it there and there. And then obviously when I use no show pos, then it won't show the positive sign thereafter. So the third output for X, Y, and Z doesn't show the plus sign. Okay, so not a massive point, but worth knowing. Okay, now next up, we're going to look at bases. The number 64, when I display it like that, will it by default be displayed in decimal, base 10. You can use the oct manipulator to display the number in base 8, octal, or the hex manipulator to display in base 16, hexadecimal. And you can reinstate decimal afterwards at the end. So when I run the application here, looking at the second set of numbers, that's the number 64 displayed in decimal. That's the number 64 displayed in octal. So that's 0 units, 0 eighths, and 1/64. And this is the same number displayed in hexadecimal. Okay, now to make it clearer what the base is for a number, you can use the show base manipulator. So when I output 64 in decimal and in octal and in hexadecimal, we have a prefix, if necessary, to help us understand this is an octal number or this is a hexadecimal number. Let me run the application again. Looking at the third bit of output now, that's a decimal number. That's clearly an octal number. The leading 0 means octal, so we know that's an octal number. It's clearer here that this is octal 100 as opposed to this. You might easily misinterpret that as being just the number 100. You might not realize it was meant to be octal. And similarly down here, the show base for hexadecimal is 0x. So that's a hexadecimal number. At the end of that little code fragment, I disable the show base. So we turn that back off again. And then finally, we use the uppercase and the no uppercase manipulators to determine whether letters are displayed in uppercase or lowercase. By default, letters are displayed in lowercase. So when I run the code, we have a number here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When I display that using the uppercase manipulator, then the second bit here will display uppercase B, C, and D. And back in the code, when I disable uppercase using the no uppercase manipulator, then it reverts back to the default, which is lowercase. So that concludes this little example. These are relatively minor points, you know, but they're important if you need to control how your output is going to appear in a professional application.